Hi, it's me, the Drew, and you're in my shop. Or, I've been really trying to figure out how to do this. Maybe I could be like, gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Boy, do we have a treat especial today. But that's not me, not at all. So, let's just get into it. On Paul's Garage's Discord, I've been talking about this plasma cutter that I bought, 2 weeks ago. Said maybe I would do an unboxing video and a setup video. I guess I have to come through on that now. The shop is a disaster, so welcome, grab yourself a beer and a seat and hang out for a while. We have the Chinese Cut-50 plasma cutter here that I bought off of Amazon. And right away it tells me not to use a sharp object to open it. So I'm going to break that rule right now. And I'm going to open it. Except I need to find a sharp object. So it's got more tape on it than it needed. Which, being shipped halfway around the world, is a lot. And it's got these plastic straps that are buried underneath about 5 layers of tape. But as soon as we get this thing out, we'll have a conversation. Just realized something. You're not going to be able to see from where I have my camera mounted all the way over there. The cheap face guard with, I'm sure, a plate in it somewhere. Owner's manual, which looks to be in decent English. The air filter. And the cutting lead. Other side is the handle for the cheap mask. Ground clamp, looks pretty standard. And power cord. Notice it does not come with its own power plug. That is because your locality matters. So this is not the 110 220 version. This is just 220 only. Comes with the world's cheapest wire brush chipping hammer. And now here's the lens for the mask. Looks incredibly cheap, or it's got a plastic cover over it. Can't see the shop lights, so it's at least a little bit dark. Air supply line, does not look like there are any clamps unless they're in with something else. So they come out of the box. It's bright orange, smaller than I thought it might be. And there you have it. Got a digital display on the front. Don't worry about that. Digital display on the front. You got your amperage knob and your plugins for all your attachments. Looks like the main power switch is here on the back, right next to the air inlet. Yeah, so I picked up a plug. 220 plug, it's range, an oven plug or a dryer plug in the United States. This matches what I have on my welder, which is an Eastwood 175 welder. So I figured this way I could unplug the welder, plug this in, keep them on the same cart. It'd be easy as possible, switching back and forth. You put that plug on here. I'm not going to waste your time and show you how to put the plug on there. You can figure it out. So once you get that on there, then you can plug it in. But you need to have your air set up first. Let's get on to the next bit. So off camera, I got all the air parts out because they come in 3 different boxes inside the package. With the air separator, which I don't really know if it's actually an air separator or just a regulator. It looks like it because it's got this water outlet here at the bottom and a nice little tightening screw so you can decide whether the air comes out or not. The water comes out or not. And it looks like it's got a push to turn, push to lock, pull to turn adjustment for the gauge. By the way, the gauge is right here. It screws into the one spot that it fits in on the device. Now, you're going to want to use some PTFE tape to hold this in place, which, by the way, I left elsewhere. So, one thing about this air system, it is incomplete in one way that I haven't seen any of the reviews actually mention yet. There is a hose barb on this side. There is a hose barb on this side. There's a hose barb down here to go into the system. There are 2 hose clamps, which is a minor inconvenience. I have a bunch more. But this is not a quick disconnect. You will need to either get a piece of air hose, cut a section of this, put a couple of clamps, but you will also need to get an air fitting that goes from here into your air compressor, which means the next time you see me, and my air compressor's over here, the next time you see me today will be tomorrow. Today is tomorrow, so the beginning of the video is yesterday, but as you can see, I've got the plasma cutter air system all figured out. I went and got a threaded 1/4 inch quick disconnect in and threaded that into the air separator regulator, and works. It cuts like crazy. One thing I will say to you, be sure to wear plenty of PPE. I've got my 5 tint shades here, and I've got gloves on, I've got leather shoes, pants, so on and so forth. This is just some 3/16 1-inch strap that I have here, and it cuts through like butter. I don't know how that looks on the video because I can't see it while I'm doing so, but you can also see that it is fairly easy to start. And with enough air, it just flows right through. Of course, the compressor. Here's a decent shot of what it looks like just freehanding some curves through this strap. As you can see, it blows right through. The cutter is on 44 amps right now, which is probably way more than it needs. We're going to try some other things now. Here's some 1/8 inch wall. Actually, I think it's also 3/16 inch wall. 2x4 steel tubing, rectangle tubing. It cleanly cuts through that without any effort at all. Let me get the camera so you can see. Now it's obviously not straight. I could have run a straight edge along it, but I didn't because I'm just trying to do this quick. As you can see, it cleanly makes its way through there with no problem and not a lot of slag or anything to clean up really. If I'd used a straight edge, I suppose it would have been a lot nicer yet, but it is a pretty good cut really. Okay, I've got the cutter turned all the way up now. This is the thickest plate I have in the shop. It is what appears to be 1/4 inch. It's not hardened, it's just mild steel plate. Doesn't look to have gone all the way through on pass number 1, but it's just a couple little tiny spots that it didn't get. And there you have it. It's not as clean of a cut, but as you can see, it does go through. And if I would have gone a little slower, I believe it'd go through on a single pass, even through this thick plate. So on first blush, it looks like it is going to do everything that it says it should. I don't have anything thicker for me to really gauge by, but it does cut like a hot knife. It definitely doesn't have any lack of power, that's for sure. Now I don't know how much time I'll spend fine tuning, but I assume some to get used to certain thicknesses. It does have a bit of a guide in the owner's manual, but the owner's manual is pretty useless. All in all, I think my first impressions are it's a really good $170 I spent. I did get the extra bag of consumables, which comes with 50 tips and 5 more cups, and electrodes and all that stuff that go along with it. It seems like for $15, that's a pretty good deal. Without it being a Pilot Arc system, it is going to go through consumables a little faster. However, for the light amount of work I'm going to do with it here, I don't really think that that's going to be that much of a problem. And those 50 consumables will last me a long time. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't really have anything else to say right now. Maybe I'll do a follow-up later if I post this at all. Anyway, thanks for being with me, and enjoy your night. By the way, it's still 1,000,000 degrees in Nebraska, so even though it's a new day and a new t-shirt, in 20 minutes I've already completely sweat through this one. See ya.